Go ahead. Say. Say.
Nobody pop to make your party knock. A couple of cold breaks to take it to the top and make it holler hot around the collar. Only ones in here to hear a party starter. Let's get to getting. The cooking is in the hits in the lips, stay in the witch in the hip. Beg for attention. Take a glance. You in a trance. Once you move a muscle, the hustle is in the dance. They say body pop.
Make Out With Violence was a project that I started in 2008 while I was living in San Francisco, California, and really came to fruition when I moved back to Lawrence, Kansas in 2010. After figuring out exactly which direction I was going to go, I narrowed down the tools that I wanted to use to take me there. M.P.C 2500, Microkorg, MS-2000, Fender Rhodes, and my voice. Some names you know, some you don't. Try to find this beat that I just did. Probably erase them now. How I do drums. I gang the drum sound because I get bored. And so I make that beat, and I don't even think that's the beat that was the beat that was originally made. So that way I have usually like a week of drums up so that I can just. The whole goal when I created the album, one time one of my dear buddies, Salvo, was like, man, it's real hard to make a whole record through one board, and it kind of just gave me inspiration because I had these boards, and he does a lot of stuff on the computer, and he was just like, how are you doing these things? Like, it's gonna be really hard for you to do all the things you want to do with just a singular board. I'm from that old school with it, so what he was saying made perfect sense, and it gave me a chance to push myself. I love it because it's like everything that I'm an M.P.C 2000, 2000 XL, and 3000 user, and I always felt like the 2000 was like the beefiest one, but this one has some punch to it. But the beauty of it is they go right into the audio track and play live on it while the beat's playing, and that's kind of an EPS trick, like our ASR 10 trick. And I'll give you a perfect example, like then when you have people like Nate or Reggie, Nate comes in and he's like, oh, that's, yeah. Once I had laid down the basic structure and outlined the music, I brought in a wonderful musician by the name of Nate Holt to really flush out the ideas, add, you know, to the melodies that I had already created, and take the music musically where it needed to go, where I lacked as a musician. I'm not really a player in the traditional sense, and Nate is. So he's able to come in, you know, change things around and really build on what I had, but also make it compelling when you're listening to it. Go ahead, yeah, I'll go ahead, I'll go ahead, yeah. Relax your mind, let your soul be free. What we didn't leave any work for cameos. It's not like a cameo record, you know what I mean? Where it's like all the guest vocalists are like all that were needed, you know?
Feels, I mean, the record feels good, man.
Yeah, man. My whole thing with records too is like why I primarily usually work with one producer is because I want that continuity. My fear has always been like having that one great song on your album and then that's it.
Right.
I'm terrified of that. Like you're like, yeah, your album is like, if I had an album that sounded a certain way and I had one great song, I would take that great song off to keep the integrity of the album intact over having that great song overshine the other body of work. My soundtrack while creating the record was like Princess Parade, Abbey Road by the Beatles, Black on Both Sides by Mos Def, Fantastic Volume 2 by Slum Village, Riot by Sly and the Family Stone. Like these classic records, but like those were like the blueprint of how to like make an album that that is a complete thought, and is a concept, but you don't have to listen to it like a concept record, because it's really hard when people do concept records and they put it all in order for you to understand it, then it's hard to break it apart when you've consumed it all.
Yeah.
Then you just want to have your jams, or you want to have your winter records, or you want to have your nighttime records. And so I wanted to make sure that what we were doing fit all of that.
We step in here to work through our issues.
That's what's cool about it, man.
And that's what I wanted. I wanted each song to kind of stand on their own, and I tried really hard to make sure that like none of the songs just sucked, or none of the songs were like the downer moments where you're like, man, I can't wait for this song. Even with the little interludes like with Lisa and then like the Aikido Kai Dojo, I want each song to just be
Sailor of all race, first to play grown games with barbers and sandlocks, pressure and cold thoughts, fighting them hands off, scarring like walks, parade of the pure, but the body was left off. Peace in our house music.
And it was tough because this is the first project that I have stepped in and produced as a producer since my first album in 2002, which was titled Ultra Proteus, and that was mainly composed of records from my father and my record collection. So it was sample based, and then I brought the band that I had at the time in to, you know, add bass and add Rhodes and add guitar licks here. And this record, no samples were used at all, so I had to sit down and really figure out where I wanted it to go and how I wanted to get there. And Nate was an anchor in seeing my vision and achieving it.
Quick.
Slow down again too. That's perfect. I'll tell you, it went at half speed again.
Huh?
Aikido Kai Dojo's playing.
Oh, I'll fix it.
Okay. Yeah, play one more time again. Sorry.
Well, matter of fact,
And once we had something solid to work with, I brought in Reggie B, who is another incredible musician, producer, vocalist in his own right. But he stepped in as an engineer and, you know, a recording engineer, mixing engineer, and a mastering engineer, and as a session musician. Hearing something like this, I can listen to it as a fan and just be like, I know that it's good.
yeah, you can listen outside of yourself.
Yeah, because
That's when you know you got something.
exactly.
It's not like you listening to you, is it?
And nope. And the first time I
Yeah.
felt that was when I made Welcome to Share with Paul.
Yeah.
And then I got a whole new perspective on how to listen to music I make. So since the end of my album is so heavy, this is like the march to the final resting place, heaven or wherever your holy ground is going to be. And you know, like the last 3 songs, I'm leading up that.
Yeah.
And then the drum of the gods is taking us where we're going. And then this is our march music.
I'll tell you what song. She didn't say it, but I know my girl. Shannon. Why she died? When she died?
She had a heart condition, and just killed her in her sleep.
That's great.
It's real crazy, man.
Never forgot
15 years old.
Yeah.
I always kind of use the approach vehicle as a chance to be like the better side of myself. To try to be like upbeat and just try to be the kind of dude that like when I come around it makes people's day better. And then as I get a little,
You know, the riot rooms, all these clubs where those are those kids, that's the song they want to hear.
And they
it's like,
still,
dude, this song is about you.
yeah. And then they still, you know, then they still had 2
What's
other
up?
songs off that album.
DJ G-Train, that Tour Records, Approach's roommate. I'm like the guy that was hanging out in the other room when a lot of stuff was getting made. I heard a lot of the stuff raw and uncut, and I got to see him build it, you know, piece by piece, which is pretty cool. Because I mean, when I was in high school, I was running with Indiegram, and we used to listen to Approach. So,
you know, that's what me as like a music geek is all about. You rip open the package and you're like, oh shoot, G-Train did the cuts on this. Oh shoot, Skills on. Oh shoot, Monster, you into that? What? Oh, Teleport Synth on that. I'm like, I to this day, man, I geek out about that stuff. Like, you know,
the cuts I put down were actually like trying to layer them into the regular pieces of the song. Like they were actual instruments in the song, trying to fill in gaps where, you know, certain sounds I could find a cut that would match that, I would just try to carry that sound or just try to feel the ambiance. And a lot of the stuff I did, you know, from that DJ standpoint was just doing stuff in a different fashion than I'm used to doing. So I'm used to party rocking cuts and beat juggling and all that stuff, but rarely do you get to do like ambiance cuts and like filler cuts and samples of, you know, just abstract sounds that people might not even know that you cut there. You know, it's just like a sound.
Mad at the best, questioning the form of an answer, but still guessing. What's next when the journey got hex? Better bump some Joe Tex and pray for safe sex. A little hands-on experience sampled in the key of life, but ain't clearing it. Who's spirit it? Sure, not served. With a body like hers, you bound to hit the curve. So pack them bags.
Like, I'm not necessarily worried about this decade or that decade or the decade to come. I'm just trying to make something that'll feel good forever. And when you look at things that way, it puts stuff in a different perspective, because then you're never out of date, you're always right on time.
And the end result is everything that I wished and wanted it to be, you know? We were really able to consolidate this down to a strong body of work, which is Make Out With Violence.
It's time to see just where the love is gone. It's time to see just where we're holding on. A lesson learned.